me smoking on it, do you?
How you doing, Jim? All right?
Hey there, Gordon. Not too
Yep.
bad.
Right. Great to have you on, Jim. Been trying to get you on for a wee while there, trying to get a chat with you for a while. And I'll do a wee introduction here. This man doesn't need any introduction to anybody in Lurgan or anybody in Ireland. GA probably. He's won several Ulster medals for Armagh, several championship medals for Clans. Played in All Ireland finals. Done it all and done it all in Gaelic and done it all in football for both Clans and Armagh. It's great to have him on here. But just even there's been a few good ones from the Clan Gael club, but I would have went to the matches with my dad who knew a bit about football, and he would have said, and of all the great players that we had with Armagh and Clans, he always would have said, watch McKerr. And so Jim would have been my favourite player growing up and make me blush here a wee bit, but that's the truth. And it's great to have him on. It's great to have a chat with him. So Jim, just going to just sort of start off here and just basically the first question would be your highlight for the Clans or highlights for the Clans.
Well, my highlight for the Clans was actually my debut, which I had long for. I was only 17, and funny enough, my debut happened to be competitive debut. Was an All Ireland club semi-final in the Murdoch in Cork. It was the first time when I stepped out, and it come on me as a surprise. I remember Brian Seeley saying to me that just only the week before it, Sean J. Moore had played in the Ulster, right up to the Ulster, and Sean had quit during that close season. So it was February. I can remember it like yesterday, February 75. Was still in my minor days. At 17, it was a great, and also got to play with play football, that is, with most of my heroes, especially Terence McKelly, which was the highlight to me. You know, that was, yeah. I really, it was just something that I'll never forget. You know, I can remember it like yesterday, and how the hell we only got a draw out of it, I don't know, and I ended up getting beaten in a replay, but that was my highlight. Highlight is any time you pull on a blue jersey, I'll have to tell you. I know so that may be controversial to some people about the time, but I was always proud to pull on a blue jersey at any time, and very privileged, never mind proud, very, very privileged. But that was one that always sticks out in my head, and obviously my first championship medal with him in 76 that I won for myself, not being a sub or anything else on the field of play. And my last one as well, and the ones that I missed, there's a few got away, which is, they're not highlights, they're something I'd rather forget, you know. But definitely my competitive debut would have been in the Murdoch in Cork. Definitely a big highlight.
Because that team was, that was a great team. Obviously, that was a great Clan Gael team, and I wasn't sure, Jim, if you'd get playing in some of those matches, because I knew that when you played an All Ireland final for Armagh, you were only about 19, so I wasn't sure if you got playing with some of them, but you're actually playing for that senior team at 17. Like, that was full of county players, great players. You know what I mean?
I got an Ulster club medal that year as a sub. I was actually sub goalie, and then I ended up playing left back in the All Ireland semi-final. So swings and roundabouts, you know. I had played goals for the RB team at 15, 16, and that was, when I say RB team, like RB team then was as good as the senior team, you know. Some great footballers about the club. Early 70s, like 40, 50 players that could have walked on that team. So
my dad told me about one year, Jim, that what they call it, the whole senior team, because when you mentioned how good that B team was, my dad told me on one time about the whole team was barred after a row against Armagh, and the Clans B team near won the first division that year. Isn't that right?
They did win the first division.
They did win it. Yeah.
And won the junior championship, and then they changed the rules. I remember they changed the rules till Cross McLean decided to come back and started the second team. And Clans were the first ones I remember were in the late 60s, early 70s. We had late 60s, I think it was. We had a second team, and the third team, which won the B championship, and the B team won the junior championship, and the junior clubs, of course, picked up because the Clans won the senior the same year. So it was a kick up that. so they weren't allowed to enter. Of
I
course,
didn't know.
cross they can do whatever the hell they like, so they
Yeah,
decided they can.
yeah. I didn't know. I didn't know that. Didn't realize that.
The first division on the seat won the junior championship or something like that. You know.
Yeah, yeah. No, I didn't. I didn't realize that the clans actually had a second team playing, or a second team playing in the.
Oh, they had, yeah. They
Yeah.
won a junior championship as well, and won the B championship, I think, the same year as well. So
Yep.
that's the difference. The B team would have won that.
Aye.
But some great footballers, yeah, some marvelous footballers when I started playing. Very, very fortunate even to get playing. Tell you the truth.
But you learned a lot. You learned a lot off them fellas, and
well, nobody ever got near me, you know. It's some. It was always going out, look after the child, you know. So for the first 2 or 3 years I was playing, I just thought when the ball come to me and you weren't allowed to tackle me because nobody ever got. All you could hear was, everybody's getting plumped all over the place, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
I was soloing up the wing thinking, this is great crack, this piece of piss, this senior football, you know. I learned later, like when some of the hard men quit, like the likes of Green.
There was third man tackles happening whether they were allowed or not.
Was it? Well, they were allowed in those days.
Aye.
Permitted in those days when I started.
But it's just as well as that, Jim. Just I meant to ask you as well about your early influences. Obviously, Jerry and Barry played senior football for the clans as well.
Jerry would have travelled to the matches with Jerry when he played. Yeah, Jerry was a good footballer. So was Barry. Barry was a great minor, you know.
Yeah.
Barry played minor hurling and football for the county in the 1 year, like on captain both of them actually in the 1 year.
Yeah.
Then political circumstances, he got injured when he was in the cash when he was about 19 and just wasn't the same player when he came out, although he could have played. Jerry was a great player too. He played county football as well, you know.
Yeah, I didn't know he played county football, Jim.
I did.
I have a photo of Jerry. There's a photo of Jerry and my dad after clans won a championship. Two of them arm in arm. It's a great photo. I don't know. I must.
Yeah.
I was a great friend of my dad's, Jerry. You know, and he would have came down to the matches. Got to lift down us quite a bit, and we had been sitting in the back of the yard. Jerry would have been talking away. You know, we knew his football, and but he near lost his voice box at the matches. He's just so passionate about the clans.
People think I shared it. Games like he couldn't have stood the character, you know. He didn't curse nothing. He wasn't very, very quiet most of the times. But
no, I know. Just when he get into that,
if somebody blows a whistle and there's a blue jersey going past, he can't. You know.
Yeah.
Where are the ears? You know? All he seen was.
But
there were an influence on him. I mean, I remember me and our body would have kicked out in the road there beside of the house. There's no greens or nothing then for maybe an hour every night, just kick the ball to one another.
Yeah.
I remember we had a gable wall, but Morris McGinn at the side of us had but we had a window in our gable, but Morris hadn't. I don't know how Morris and Mrs. McGinn. I kicked the ball for hours up, just kicking it up, catching it. But which practice makes perfect, I think.
I mean, I've heard that so many times of players that end up as great players, and you were a great player yourself, Jim. And a lot of it was just kicking a ball up against the wall for hours and hours and hours. Or and my dad would have said that too, but that probably it's all a lot of coach sessions and matches, loads of matches. But maybe there's a fella, if somebody wants to be a top footballer, there is that hours of just single practice, just controlling the ball, and so
timing for jumps and stuff like that. Just the basics you like football, like everybody coaching at certain levels and there, and you need to teach basics. But you can practice on them yourself. You don't need somebody to tell you. When you can do it on your own, you don't need to be in a group session at all times to work. To try and do something for it, like.
Yeah,
I remember all. Don't know how Mrs. McGinn survived it, but they did.
Well, the Musselman clans, Jim.
Well, Mrs. McGinn was big Mazza Matthews. You mightn't remember Mazza, but older ones will remember, was Mazza's sister, and Mazza was a great clansman. committee man down there for years and years when I was only a young cub, young whippersnapper. Picked teams, was on a management team in the 60s and that won a championship and stuff. So yeah, it was all right, you know.
He let you away. He knew you were going to be a good one, so he let you away with it.
They were nice. They were lovely people.
Yeah. I would say it's funny. It's just when we're talking about Jerry Dwyer. Dwyer is great. Jerry's son Dwyer, great artist.
That's right.
The profile photo of the Lord and Grapevine is Jerry.
Oh, I know it is. Yeah.
No, I know. I don't know if you knew that there, but
anybody else?
What's that? I will say no, but just a shout out to Dwyer, because you know artists don't sometimes like you using their work for thing, you know, and no problem at all. And this was like when the Grapevine's going way rightly at the minute and all that there sort of stuff. But like there was nobody on the Grapevine. I asked him could I use it as my profile picture, and he says not a problem. You know, there wasn't a ball about it, like, you know. So you know, and very very gifted family, Jim. Actually,
very very gifted. Jerry was a good artist as well, you know. But
yeah. I seen a lot of Jerry.
Dwyer's an excellent artist. Yes, he definitely is. Yeah.
And then Sean with the music. Sean
is. I'm tone deaf. I'm tone deaf and can't draw, so I don't know where they got that from. I must have got that from us.
I know. Said or what do you call it? I'm hoping to get a arm with Sean too about the music and stuff as well. You know, just do we interview with Sean as well. You
know? He's done some traveling through it. We could have some yarns, okay.
Yeah. Just going to what do you call it? Just going ahead. So moving on there from the clans, Jim. Just as we already mentioned that, you know, you get into that great clans team when you were 17, and then get into the great Armagh team when you were 19.
That's right.
I suppose you was the fact that you'd played at that level for the clans. Did that help you make up progression?
Yes, it did. There's no doubt about it. I mean, the clans were outstanding, and it was easy to play football with the clans. And then we had 3 or 4 members of the team, my young team up playing at that time was Bumpy and Colin, and myself there at that time, you know. So it was made a whole lot easier for me. There's no doubt about it. Playing with great footballers it made it easier for me, and it made me cocky as well, which didn't matter, you know. It made me a wee bit cocky, which it didn't.
It had sometimes just needed that cockiness.
There's no harm. There's no harm. Cockiness. I don't mind seeing that in a footballer. Tell you the truth.
And it's what they call.
No harm in being cocky.
You have to have so many players in the team to make it go round, and it's something that I would always have a army in the club. And I think it's something that annoys you that kind of self-expression and maybe cockiness is cut out of players at times. You know what I mean? You know that. You know, and that's something that we all.
It seems that natural ability seems to be getting coached out of some young fellas. You know.
Yeah.
To have to be allowed to express it. Okay, you have to work within a team, you know, but should be able to express yourself on the football field if you're good enough to do it as well, like, you know.
Yeah. You coach the fellas that maybe need the coaching to do the basics, but if somebody's good enough, let them at it.
Yeah, but you can't allow them just every time you get the ball go and do your own thing.
I know,
thing, but sometimes you just need that wee shot of brilliance from somebody. And it just turns the game, you know.
Yeah.
Lucky enough in the clans, we have had them down through the years, you know.
Yeah.
We've always had one somewhere along the line, you know.
Yeah.
No matter how poor or good we were, we always had a few about this.
Yeah. No, definitely agree with you there, Jim. You know, you can't see it being coached out of players and, you know, sticking too rigidly to systems instead of trying something to change the game, or, you know, and I'd agree with you there. And so getting back to the Armagh thing, so like it's probably in terms of a highlight, you know, the All-Ireland final against the Dubs. Dubs were probably the top 3 great teams of all time. The Dubs that just met in the final. The Dubs, present Dubs, and the Kerry team. that's probably the three best teams of all time.
I think so, yeah.
And you met one of them, just met one of them in the final, and any other year that Armagh team was a great team. You know,
we more a good side. Even we took a bit of a hiding that day, but when you look at it as closely, you know, we missed the penalty, we hit the post a couple of times. Not saying we would have won it like that. I don't think we deserved the 12-point defeat that we got.
No.
You know, I think we played better than that. We got off to a bad start that day. And, you know, many things went against us. But I don't think we would have beat the Dubs, don't get me wrong. But I remember that day well. And I always remember thinking after it, I'm sure this is wee buns, this, you know, first year playing senior county football. I'm in an All-Ireland final. I'd be back here someday, you know, but it didn't happen, you know. That's just the way of it. You know?
Yeah.
Well, that's probably maybe one of my regrets that I never got back. I think we should have been back in 1980 and we didn't see it through, but that was maybe one of my regrets that we didn't get to another final. But not everybody can win All Irelands, and we have a couple of them in the club, so I'm happy enough with that. So.
Yeah. So 1980, what they call that was that was the year Roscommon.
Yeah.
Roscommon beat us in the semi-final, and I think Kerry only beat Roscommon by 4 points.
Oh, Roscommon had Kerry rattled that day, and I don't know, they changed tactics later on for some reason, and you know, we had Roscommon hammered at half time, and we made changes all over. Colm got hurt that day, was having a field day, and they changed the whole team around to get a player on for Colm's place instead of putting a midfielder on or anybody on, you know. Changed the whole team around. It just upset us an awful lot. Like, I think if Colm had stayed on the field that day, we would have been in the All-Ireland final. There's no doubt about that. Like. But it's one of those ones was missed out on.
But
I have regrets. That's maybe one of them. That maybe the only really regret I have in the county football, like, you know.
Yeah. But as like as a supporter, like in that era as well, like in that era, you know, was bombs going off left, right, and centre, and there wasn't much to cheer about. And you know, like 77 All Ireland final, that lifted the whole community. And you know, even if we didn't win it, it was a great buzz, and you know what I mean.
It actually lifted the whole north, not just Armagh, not just there. It was actually the whole north was lifted for that, and it was a great colour, and Armagh brought great colour to it. And it's just for a few weeks, people forgot their worries for a wee while, you know.
Yeah.
There were hard times. I don't get me wrong. You know, getting stopped going to training.
Yeah.
We knew getting stopped coming home. It was the same people stopping us. They knew where we were going, where we were coming from. But then a few times we used it to our advantage when we didn't want to go to it, and we told them we were stopped.
Yeah.
So Jerry Fagan actually went to Jerry. A big kick up with the Armagh, and all these boys get stopped. It wasn't us this time. It was actually Jack Cruppen, man. Right. And there was no roadblock on the bloody place or nothing. The boys had just decided not to go training. So that's what happened there. But sure, that's another story.
I thought what do you call it? I know it was but again, it was a credit to like Armagh that kept the game going during that period, and you know, and what do you call it, in the clubs, and you know, despite the harassment and everything that was happening, that you know, we kept the game going and kept competing at the very highest level, you know. So, you know, so but what do you call it? It's funny you mentioned there Carl Cruppen, and an old mate of mine, big Tony Lockern, says to say hello to you.
Yes, Tony.
I'm going to shout out to Tony. He's big man. He says that it was one of his first matches, and I think he had to mark you or something, and you give him a bit, you give him a bit of a quip, you know what I mean? And he says he watches his hands out. He said, I was annoyed. He said something like, "You'll have to see in the ball today, mate, anyway," or something like that. There, and he says, "But I have to admit it didn't."
Right, Danny, I wouldn't have hit him. You know, I seen a thing during the rounds there a week ago with Bernard Flynn, where I heard boys were showing me where he said he had clipped them, and Monaghan put him in hospital and all, and I clipped him from behind. I think Bernard's, I must have hit him harder than what I imagined, because he has forgot what Bernard was at before he got hit, like kicking at my ankles and that. He just walked on the one that wasn't really meant for him. It was just a swing. But I did put him in the hospital. There's no doubt.
There was no shrinking.
Just to let Bernard know, like, it was Bernard was kicking at me first. He wasn't struck from behind or anywhere else. I think anybody that knows me or played against me knows I wouldn't have.
No, you weren't a dirty player.
Wasn't in my nature.
No, not at all. There wasn't. But I think, was that the year, what do you call it? That was the year that there was O'Rourke got sent off that match. Didn't Colm?
No, this was a friendly match.
Friendly match, right?
This is opening the lights in Castleblaney. We played me, so I remember it well. I remember it well because I thought I had done the fella damage, and I think it annoyed me more than it annoyed Bernard once he'd come around. We now spoke to Bernard a few times since it and that there. I mean, we don't get on. It never was mentioned till he mentioned it the other week. So I just thought I would clear that up in case people had seen or heard this other one that's doing the rounds, you know.
No,
as I say, anybody that knows me knows that wasn't in me.
You were never a dirty player. You might have had a wee waist crack with somebody. That's what the one with big.
Oh, I could have talked to you.
I would
talk you off the ball quicker than knock you off.
But it's just when you said that me thing, what do you call it? I remember around that year, like, I was always more of a fan of the game than a player of the game, as you know. And but I remember reading it was around that time. Armagh played Meath in the First Division National League, and O'Rourke was sent off that day, and you were sent off that day, and all the national newspapers were talking about, because at that time, if you get sent off in a game, you were disqualified from an All-Star, and all the national newspapers were saying, O'Rourke, chance of All-Star missing. But fair play to the examiner, says, well, what about McKerr's chance of an All-Star? He's as good a player as O'Rourke that day and any day, you know. And so what do you call it? But it's just, I thought it might have been the same game, but I don't know what
No, it wasn't the same game. No. 2 years before that. This would have been before Meath come. That particular day that myself and O'Rourke were sent off, O'Rourke was sent off for deservedly.
Yep.
I was actually playing centre half forward that day. It was in Gael's. And Micheál Kearns was refereeing, the great Micheál, was an all-star from 1970, one of the first all-stars ever from Sligo, was refereeing it. And I was sent off just to even up the score, to tell you the truth. It was just to even it up. Because I'd done nothing. I actually had the ball in my possession when he blew me up for overcarry, and I bounced the ball and sent me off. But he thought it would have placated the crowd, but they had to come down. The changing rooms in Chels was down off the pitch. The crowd wouldn't let him off. The guards couldn't get him off. So the guards come down and said, look, would the players come up and get him off? I think, well, I didn't go up. I don't know who went up.
Well, then you weren't.
I didn't go up there and score him off anyway. I was along with the thing. That actually was my last game for Armagh. It just tore the stomach out of me at that time, and I just
was that the last game? I didn't realize.
Yeah, it's November '87.
Yeah.
I just called it a day. I just says, nah, I've had enough of this. If this is what it's coming to now,
because you're a great champion.
Yeah, I was only 30. You know what I mean? I was still a couple of years senior. At least 2 years more in the county, like, you know.
Yeah, but as I was just sort of pointing that story out in a way of saying that at that time, you know, we were talking about the workers.
Oh, well, that's what it was. Yes, the All Stars. Yeah, if you would have been sent off club game or county.
Yeah. So I'd say, no, it's just your mention names. It was great that, you know, I'd say, you know, you're able to go down to likes of Kerry, and I know you down there, and I know you love Kerry, and you can rub shoulders with all them superstars that are household names. You know what I mean?
Well, the older ones, not the younger ones. They don't know who the hell I am. Who the hell are you?
Well, I'm not that young myself now, Jim. So, but that you know, that great Kerry team, you know, was what they call them, and you played against them, and you know them, and you know it's a great era to have played in, and maybe some of that joy's been maybe took out of the game a wee bit, you know.
It has, because I don't think there's any doubt about that. I think it has,
yeah. I see.
Even club level, you know.
Aye. the social aspect of it and meeting up with the odd team and having a crack and beer and
Yeah.
you know what I mean, like, and but even for all that aside, that Dublin team, just was going to ask you about this one because there's something that we're all will that dominance ever end? Is it? Can you see an end? Can you see a way through for a county to end that dominance? Or
I thought maybe Kerry this year would have had a go at it, but they were awful. My God, they were awful. I don't know what happened to them. I can't blame Dublin. I mean,
No.
they're good footballers. You know what I mean. I can't see it for another year or two unless something drastic happens or somebody comes up with something. I mean, I feel sorry for Mayo. Probably should have beat them at least twice. Kerry should have beat them the year of the draw. Was that 2 years ago? Yeah, that they drew with them at the replay. Kerry had them beat that day as well. So they should have been beat. We've got 6 in a row, but they should have been beat 3 of them at least. Yeah. Mayo had them to the wall twice, and Kerry had them beat. So well, maybe we tweak some of those teams. Mayo's good. Come on in. If you have a couple of footballers like what Kerry have, you always have a chance. They're forwards,
I was one of them fans in particular with Mayo, like scored 2 OGs. I've never seen any team score an OG. Never mind 2 OGs in All Ireland final. That's just free. That's freaky luck. Like that's just But no. But I suppose in any year, Jim, you really have at any time you've maybe 2 or 3 real contenders, don't you?
Well, it was no different when I was playing. You know what I mean? I mean the Dubs were in the 70s and Kerry had the 80s. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
On the 90s as well. Meath for a while in the late 80s, Cork for a wee while, and then back to Kerry. Dublin won 1 or 2 in between. I mean, the 60s, you had only 2 teams. You had Down and you had Galway won 3 in a row. And Meath won a couple. Offaly won 2 in a row in the 70s. You know what I mean? It happens. Maybe 6 is a wee bit extreme, but as I say, they shouldn't have had. I don't think they should have had 6.
Yeah.
A row at the most.
It's just because I suppose because them couple of finals went that way, it kind of magnified the whole perception that this is unstoppable and we're going to have to change this. And but as you say, there like in any year you're going to have dominance, but that dominance has been magnified a wee bit by a couple of them near misses that Mayo had and Kerry and so on. Well, I hope that is the case because it's getting boring. Like it's getting a bit flipping. They are a great team.
To me, that's up to the other teams to step up. Step up the mark.
Probably teams in Armagh would have said that about you in the 70s, the Clans. It's just saying.
Well, they did step up to the mark in Armagh. The club football in Armagh was, no matter how good the Clans were, we always got to take them onto where we went. There was some great club sides about in Armagh. Even the Cross and Cruppen. Sarsfields at that time, Mahary at that time were all strong teams. The Harps always were strong.
Yeah.
Oh no, club football in Armagh was tough. There's no doubt about it. I would say it was as good as anywhere in Ireland especially at that time.
Yeah.
A bit of dominance was across this last while. Yes, that's just what were we going to do now? What were we have done with Cross? Were we going to abolish Armagh football or ban Cross McLean from playing? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's the same argument, isn't it?
What Dubs is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But come along, Mahary has beat them the last twice they played them.
That's it.
Beat the Harps, beat them. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
they've had to just raise their game and
just have to pace out there. Yeah.
Yeah. I say it was great to see. Look, I know there was never any love lost between the Clans and Mahary and any Lurgan clubs in Mahary, but I think everyone in Lurgan was glad because they've been knocking about for about. Mahary's had a senior team for about 40 years. What's a credit to them? All right, they never won championships, but they always were in the top division, weren't they, for about 40 years.
In the top division. Even in my day, they always played in the top division. Always were an excellent team. Sarsfields were an excellent team at that time as well. First class team, They never won one to 1990. They still only won one. They're the marvellous footballers come out of Trasna.
Yeah. Right. Some great footballers come out of there.
Mr. Australia, not get it.
Not the dog.
That thing's dog. Come here. Look. Here you go. Hey, on TV. Get out. Get out. Oh.
Well, the dog's missing the clans too, Jim.
Oh, our own dog, yeah, that's our Emmett's German Shepherd there.
Is Emmett in there, is he? Aye.
He's not there at the minute. He's just at work. Mind it for him.
Yeah. No, say look, going through that there, what do you call it? Good to see Mahi doing it, but that leads on then to the next thing. Jim, we've had to raise our standards again.
Sorry, would you come again there?
The clan. So you've seen, people, a lot of clubs sitting up at the cross going through no chance, but the clubs like Mahi and Pierce said, well, we're going to work and keep at it until we can match them, and did match them. And there's been an awful lot of work happening down the clans over the past 10 years to try and get back up and around that level again. It's going to be great to see that, Jim.
It's marvelous to see that. I actually went down last Sunday. Just there must have been 200 kids between the girls and boys from 1 to 6 up. Marvelous. The amount of work that the coaches is putting in. How many coaches we have?
Yeah.
How young footballers we have at underage. I even watch them there. The under 10s right up, even at the go games.
Yeah.
I think it's looking good for the clans for the future. There's no doubt about it. If we keep working that work going the way it is, there's no doubt about it. It's looking really, really good.
Yeah,
and it's a credit to the boys that looks after it. I mean, I might be on the committee down there, but we have very little to do now because the things kind of run for us. So all we have to do is look after, make sure it's run, trying to run straight as we can.
That's it. And you do an awful lot. You do a lot of work around the club. You do an awful lot of work around the club, and them fellas that probably likes of Paul O'Hagan and Stevie Lavery, Gamard, Joe Lavery came maybe a few years ago, put together a bit of a blueprint to try and pull more coaches in and get the whole thing going. And just wasn't an overnight thing, and just great, with fair play to the lads, because likes of myself can just come in and support and enjoy it and whatever. But them fellas, put the work in that we can go and enjoy it and watch it. You know what I mean? So we're looking forward to getting down to watching First Division this year. And I was going to ask you, how do you think we'll fare out?
I think we should be more than capable of holding our own. I think we should have been out of that division maybe 2-3 years ago, to tell you the truth. We just went through a couple of patches where we kind of threw it away. I think we're much better than intermediate. I think we proved that how easy we won it. Well, we didn't win it easy. We had a tough game again, Shane O'Neill's but after that I think we knew we were going to win it. I think we should hold our own. It would be difficult. I mean, it is a high grade of football,
Yeah.
But I think we have players of that capability. We have a couple of young lads coming through, which last year we could have maybe blooded a few more, and it's hard. It'll be hard this year again. It'll probably only be playing 10 matches at the most. And some of the lads are not going to get football. If there's going to be no B football, maybe no minor football. We don't know what's happening, until everything's right. But hopefully we can hold on to most of them and get them a game of football.
I helped out with a couple of teams, Jim, and what do you call it, just their minor role, just helped out a wee bit. And but I can see they're just, I think we'll hold on to most of them because of they're real level headed. Most of them good attitude, and you know what I mean.
Most of the kids know me. There's Teddy, they're out fogey. They see me down at all the matches. They just love being down there in the summer evenings, the games. I would be down every night to go to some of the away games as well. I mean, 2 years ago, one of my greatest experiences was going with our wee team down to Roscommon for the Fiala.
Yeah.
One of the games I ever had. Nothing to do with drink or anything. How much the people enjoyed it, and the way the clans ones, how many went down to it, just what it meant to everybody. It was a great experience, and I'd love that to happen again. Maybe there's the feeling if we have them coming through at that age, it's something that it is an All Ireland level playing.
And I know I've always got the impression, you Jim, that the club was always more important to you than the county or even your own playing. Just the club meant more to you than any of that. There, you know what I mean? I've always got that impression.
Everything. Anybody that knows me will tell you that. Even guys that knows nothing about football, fellows I might have worked with a while back, and that don't
Yeah.
believe you do.
Yep. I said,
don't say.
What's that?
Don't say a bad word about them anyway.
No, and I can remember, playing underage for clans, like yourself, and maybe just something, because you would have been our heroes. You would have been down watching us playing under 16 matches, and you're coming in, the old wire fans going back into the club, and you've been getting patted on the head by Jim McKerr and patted on the head by Smith or McKinstry, and you're walking in that changing room just like, it's important that fellas like yourself are down there and saying well done to the fellas, and it means more than what you think. It means, you know what I mean. So you do all the coaching in the world, but see sometimes just a wee nod, well done, and from somebody who's so respected in the club, it means an awful lot. You know what I mean. So so say hopefully we can hold our own for the next couple of years, and then
I imagine we will. Yeah.
Yep.
It's like we.
Yep.
Maybe even go better.
Sorry.
Maybe even go better.
Well, I think if them more senior players can just hold us there for a couple of years till the young fellas start coming through, there's no limit to maybe what they can, achieve. Like.
I know, yeah.
But we're looking forward to say, look, Jim, brilliant talking to you, and you're looking forward to getting back down there, and I'll see you down there for a game and a beer.
The game's more important than the beer.
Yep.
Or we'll have a pint next time. You were supposed to buy me a pint to have this thing anyway.
I know, that's why what I call it done on Zoom. But no, definitely I'll happily be a beer now, and maybe two, so looking forward to getting down watching a game, and just it's one of the things we've all missed the most during this whole thing, so, well, great talking to you. I'm going to hit stop on the record here, Jim.
Well, give me again sometime. We'll finish it out and we'll talk about the Tracy's.